Lotus founder Colin Chapman built his first car, the Mark I, in 1948, while still an engineering student at London University. Based on a 1928 Austin 7 chassis, the Mark I was built to compete in the 750 Motor Club trials. The Mark VI, a super-light club racer, was the first car produced in large enough quantities to qualify Lotus as a real car manufacturer. Built on a Lotus-designed space-frame chassis with its aluminum body, the whole car weighed in at only 950 pounds. The Lotus road car legend is born with the Lotus 7. Conceived as a no-frills, low-cost, simple sports car that delivered staggering performance, the Lotus 7 was sold mainly as a kit car to enthusiasts. As a descendant of the Mark IX, the Lotus 11 was made on an all-new chassis made from thinner gauge steel tubing. It was an immediate hit and won its class at Le Mans. In fact, Lotus Cars recorded an astounding 150 wins in 1956. The following year, the Lotus 11 Series 2 again won both its classes at Le Mans, in addition to the prestigious Index of Performance. The Lotus Elite astounded the motoring world, using aeronautical production standards and designs. The Elite featured a glass fiber reinforced plastic monocoque chassis and a stunning aerodynamically shaped frame with four-wheel independent suspension, disc brakes and an overhead cam engine. Chapman shocked the racing world in 1962 when he introduced the Lotus 23, initially banned from participating at Le Mans because it was thought to have had an unfair advantage over the competition. First raced by Jim Clark at the Nürburgring 1000 kilometer, it blew away the bigger engines of Porsche and Ferrari by lapping up to 30-second leads before the exhaust failed, causing Clark to be overcome by exhaust fumes and crash. Hollywood would have been proud of the 25's novel-like beginnings, sketched in rough outline on a restaurant napkin. The 25 was the first Formula One race car with a monocoque chassis. It was lighter and stiffer, and had better handling and performance than any other Formula One car at the time. The Lotus 25 debuted in 1962 and was immediately successful, with Clark nearly winning the Drivers' Championship, losing to Graham Hill in the last race due to an oil leak. But Clark dominated in '63, winning the Drivers' Championship with 7 victories in 10 races. The Type 33, the next evolution of the 25, provided Clark with his second championship in 1965. A replacement to the highly successful but difficult to build Elite, the Elan was less complex in design, but offered the high-end road handling of a sports car with its steel backbone chassis. The Elan was extremely successful, selling more than 12,000 cars over its 12-year lifespan. Lotus startled the Indy world with the Lotus 29, the first rear-engine race car to run at Indy. The impact was clear. In the following seasons, everyone would adopt rear-engine race cars. The Lotus 49 was the first race car to have a Cosworth DFV engine. The new power plant was purpose-built for Formula One, and the 49 was installed as a fully stressed member in chassis. That is, the engine is part of the chassis, not bolted into it. Jim Clark went on to win the British Grand Prix in 1967. Graham Hill won the Drivers' Championship in his Lotus 49 in 1968. Giving Lotus the championship in 3 years out of 6. The Europa was a mid-engine car that used the same type of backbone chassis and composite body as the Elan and was powered by a Renault engine. The Europa was meant to be an extremely lightweight car and a spiritual successor to the Lotus 7. The Renault engine offered a more economical alternative to the Lotus twin-cam engine in the Elan. Later versions eventually did use the twin-cam engine and returned a much better performance. The Lotus 72 defined racing the first half of the 1970s. The 72 was the first wedge-shaped car to produce downforce because of its shape, and used side pods to house the radiators, which had to be moved from the front of the car. The 72 enjoyed unparalleled success, with 20 Grand Prix wins, 2 Drivers' Championships for Jochen Rindt and Emerson Fittipaldi, and 3 Constructors' Championship titles in its career. Produced for more than 25 years, the Lotus Esprit evolved from a 4-cylinder, 160 horsepower engine to a 265 horsepower turbocharged engine, and finally into a 350 horsepower twin-turbo V8 powered supercar. Some have called the Lotus 79 and its predecessor the 78 the most significant vehicle design in racing history. The cars introduced ground effects, where the airflow under the car is used to create a partial vacuum, to literally suck the car towards the pavement. With this innovation, Team Lotus was untouchable in late 1977 and throughout 1978. It delivered Mario Andretti his first Formula One Drivers' Championship in 1978 and the 7th Constructors' title for Lotus. The first generation Elise was introduced in Europe in 1995, as Lotus made a move to get back to its heritage to manufacture a light sports car with a pure Lotus driving experience. The Elise S1 was replaced in 2001 with the Elise S2, with a new and exciting body and updated chassis. Introduced to the United States in July of 2004, the Elise, with its Toyota-powered engine and ultralight design, is an instant success. In the first full year, more Lotus Elises are sold in the United States than any other model in company history. Combining the essence of the Elise with advanced aerodynamic technology, Lotus develops the Exige, the ultimate driver's car for the road and track. Powered by the same engine that powers the Elise, the Exige produces enhanced grip using its front splitter, rear wing and underbody diffuser, which work together to mold the airflow around the car and create nearly 100 pounds of balanced downforce at high speeds.